Yeah, well, I grew up really like fat, but I was hyper, so my legs were strong. and now that I'm not that anymore, my legs are like
scientist?
we're free. At 34, my legs are like we're free.
You're
can
like
do
a
shit now.
superhuman. You're like a superhuman.
I weighed them down so long that now I'm freeing them.
strong.
Yeah, I didn't play any varsity like basketball or anything like that, but I play more basketball than probably.
I can't do sports at all.
Really?
I just am like I'm just like,
It's okay.
I'm not in, I'm just not into it,
You have very
man.
field hockey energy. I figured
allow it.
I could see you like bruising.
I
some
feel
chicks
like
up.
I could be a
Soccer.
coach.
Yeah,
I
soccer.
don't want to be an athlete, but I could be like, what the fuck, get your
Yeah,
head out
yeah,
of your
see,
ass.
yeah,
You
there you
have
go.
good coach voice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but like I'd just be like I'd be like woman-splaining to them. They'd be like, why don't you do it? I'll be like, I don't know how to play the game, fuck face. Okay, but I'll tell you what to do. Okay? Guys, welcome to Girls on. Guys, I am your host, Nina Tar. I am haunted by what Mike describes as a haunted auto mechanic.
Italian auto mechanic. Yeah.
Haunted, dead, deceased.
Well, possessed.
possessed.
I wouldn't say you're haunted. He's very helpful when he does show. Like I'm saying, it's not like a Linda Blair in The Exorcist, like, oh, this entire afternoon is now about the devil. No, it's like, oh, there's Luigi or whatever. You haven't given him a name yet.
But that's okay. Welcome to Girls On, guys. Mike, we have Mike Menendez, really funny comic, amazing. You're from Miami.
From Miami.
But I live in Los Angeles. We've known each other for years, and I love your stand-up. You're one of my favorite to watch, and I haven't seen you in a while.
Thank you.
Anymore.
You did not say this before the microphone came on, and now I'm filled with. Is this what you do?
Yeah,
Mike's tearing up.
I assault people with compliments, and then most of them take it well.
Could someone give me a hacky sack so I can divert away from this vulnerable moment? Yeah, thanks for the compliment.
Mike, do we need to give you more affirmations? Is that what needs to happen?
We'll have more information.
Yeah, more
We should do that. I feel like Jenny and I
affirmations.
would be good,
Yeah.
shepherds for you.
Just shower you with affirmations and love, and then
not do
just
that.
see what happens.
Yeah.
not
No,
too
then he'll actually have a
man
psychotic
just
break.
break.
Yeah, no.
And we have none other than Jenny Yang joining us, also in studio. Jenny is a hilarious comedian and actor and writer. You do a lot of stuff.
I try to maintain multiple streams of income, okay, to fight off any needs that Hollywood has.
That's good. I like that. I like that. Well, thank you both for joining me. We are going to talk about, I'm like, what if I'm like, we're going to talk about the Israel-Palestine conflict is what the people want to hear. I don't even want to talk about it. But they said I had to. I said, I'm not an expert. They said we prefer that. And I said, okay.
Were you gonna go British for a second? I feel like you were about to be like, oh, all right.
I mean,
That's what's
I love to throw Cockney in there, okay, every now and then.
Oh, that's a dog, right? Cockney? Is that a dog? No.
No, is that
That's really, so you can explain sports to me and I'll explain breeds of dogs. Don't know which is less
So
valuable.
Israel, Palestine. So like, where
Yeah.
are those places? Yeah.
that's a good diversion.
I always find it weird when someone on the BBC is on the front lines of like it's like violence erupts on the Gaza Strip. I'm like, is it affecting you at all? Because
Yes, it's affecting people.
it's affecting us.
Okay, now I want to bring up the first case,
Yeah.
the difference between men and women. Empathy and lack thereof.
Yeah.
There we go.
I ain't got that.
There we go.
I ain't with that.
Jenny, you're married, right?
I am engaged.
Engaged. Ooh, that's nice. Okay, all right.
I turned into that bitch. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, well, you should know. That means you should always have a manicure and be like,
Yeah, like, well, he did it. Like, he actually did surprise me. He did. Yeah, I like that.
What type of stone is it?
it's an emerald
Oh, it's beautiful.
because
it's
I
really
think I'm an
beautiful.
indie bitch. You know.
yeah, I like that. I like that. You're like, I'm a Zoe Kravitz motherfucker over here.
I'm against like blood diamonds, bro.
Yeah, no. Also, diamonds are basic as fuck.
I know.
I mean, they're kind of basic.
They're
but, you know.
so basic. Like,
Princess Cut Diamond with my husband, who is a financial broker, and he will annihilate the family at some point to really like follow the like white male trope in America.
But I'll be honest though, even though this is emerald and makes me different, I feel that person that just came out of you just residing inside me the moment
It's
that the
dormant.
slid
It's
on.
always
Right?
dormant. It's
Well,
like
I
when
want
you
to
go to
get
a
like a
wedding.
shirt that says like future Mrs. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how it feels when I got engaged. It's because I was like not finding love for so long, and when it finally happened, I was like, oh my god, this is amazing.
That's beautiful.
I just want everything now.
How long have you like been dating, like in your life? When did you kind of start being like, hey, I kind of like this?
Dating period?
Yeah.
When I was like 21, maybe. I was late. I didn't
Did you
have
have
my
crushes
first
before
kiss
that?
until I was 21. I had crushes.
You didn't have your first kiss till you were 21?
Well, I was a late bloomer. I grew up with a lot of evangelical Christians. I was deeply afraid of intimacy, physical and emotional.
That'll do it.
Yeah. I didn't want to touch the boys in real life. I wanted to in my head.
Were your parents really strict with like?
I wanted to compete with them.
Yeah, that's how you wanted to gain access to like dominate them in a word.
Exactly.
That's wife material right there. That's why.
It is.
Is it?
Yeah, I like it a lot. I like everything you just described.
What?
Want to compete with them? I was like, awesome.
Oh,
There you go.
really?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm taken, but I can find other
Yeah, no,
women.
I'm saying the energy,
I can
not
find
you.
other
Bro,
women.
Can you stop hitting on
Like
the
I
guest?
have an emerald.
ew.
Like I have a bigger emerald to spare.
I can find you other
wish,
women
lady.
like me. I can find you other women like me.
That's great. I'm happy to hear that.
Trust me.
Great. Well, we're like matchmaker,
Yeah.
find you a find, catch you a catch. So first kiss at 21.
I know.
Were you scared as hell?
No, I didn't know how to kiss.
What'd you do?
It was
Let's
really,
reenact it.
It was like,
Oh no.
it was like a soft, it was just too soft of a mouth. There needed to be
just-
more focus and structure.
You lost like all of the muscle mass in your. It was like a cat trying to slide under a fence. It was
never
like,
know.
let me just collapse my body real quick. Like, when was your first kiss, Mike?
5 minutes ago in the alley. No, I think I was 13,
That sounds about
and there
right.
was
Yeah, that sounds
there
about
was
right.
two other guys there.
And
It
they were
was not
filming
fun.
me.
No, it was just a girl who was
Wow.
kissing. Like we were playing spin the bottle with one girl. It was terrible.
I was
It was
horrible.
god awful. As much as a romantic as I think I am, my life has been not that.
Aw.
But that's
are
the problem.
romantic.
I am.
When was your first kiss though?
I think I was 13,
Yeah.
and then I wouldn't have another one until I was 18.
Really?
I was late to everything. I'm later than her on things. My first girlfriend was when I was 27.
Wow.
It's like when
But
you
like,
met me.
did you date?
Yeah, I dated, but you know, I wasn't very good at picking up on certain like cues and stuff. I thought when someone didn't answer or respond to a text, like it was done, as opposed to keep going, like try harder or whatever it is. I was always just like, nope, I respect your decision. I'm very sad by this. On to the next one. Onward and upward. As long as I did not lose the lesson. And I can,
Why do you think you did that though? Like, was it because you were
I
nice?
grew up in a family full of women that like very strong-minded women that had to deal with like shit that's, you know, when you're escaping the Castro regime in Cuba, you don't have time.
You don't think about boys.
Yeah, you don't have time to. Yeah.
You're not like, ooh,
You don't have time to be chased, like you know,
Right.
because you're being chased by the government with their guns. That's who's chasing you. So I came up in kind of like, you know, my family kind of taught me like, yeah, just stay away from women like that. Essentially, like once someone shows you that they're kind of like flinching, like get away, because those people take too much effort.
And then you're like, oh, I should have like maybe like put a little bit more
No.
effort in.
No. But I very much like to be with people who like me
Yeah.
and express those things.
Right. They're
Yeah.
forthcoming.
To-
Exactly.
yeah, to me the chase is the worst part.
Yeah.
I'm all about like, let's get to it. Let's travel. Let's like,
Romantic.
yeah, to
Yeah.
me that's the best part of it. The chasing part of it. Like I used to watch shit like Dawson's Creek and I'm like, what is wrong with these white
You like
kids?
gave you anxiety.
Yeah, it's just like,
you were like, this.
it
is
gave me anxiety. It's just like, why is this taking so long?
Too much tension. We're
Why
edging
is this
too
taking
hard.
so long?
Don't you guys like each other? It's pretty
Yeah.
obvious.
Joey Pacey, here now. Hey, put your stuff together and get over
Yeah,
yourselves.
figure it out,
Yeah,
guys.
you make squish right now,
Ew,
and then you move
squish.
on. Yeah, I'm a romantic.
Worst
Yeah,
euphemism
sorry.
for fucking.
That's how it sounds. You know.
I don't like. That's made it worse.
well, I'm a romantic, as I said.
Did you have crushes when you were a young girl?
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
You
totally.
did, but you just were like, I'm too afraid to do anything.
to do anything.
But you were like, you had
Men
deep
are
feelings.
evil.
Yeah. Oh, you
I-
thought
they
that as a
should-
child?
Yes.
Wow.
I grew up with two older brothers who bullied me and a very patriarchal dad.
Yeah.
So I was like, it was
They're
bred
scary.
in me. Yeah, it was like, no, they're powerful and they will shut you down.
Yeah, and that's not like sexy unless you have a dog collar on or something like that. And you're like,
Exactly.
Tell me stop it.
Exactly.
Tell me to stop.
Yeah.
yeah, it's interesting how, our first relationships with whatever gender we're attracted to usually dictates our romantic relationships. Like,
100%.
They say like, well, your first relationship with like a woman, not to be all weird about it, but it's more Freud, but is like with your mom. That's your first relationship with a woman. That's your first relationship with a man is like with your father. And you really orient your life. I think there's things that we pick up subtly, cues and whatnot, that are kind of inform us like more psychologically, you know? I think that's like, because I feel like my dad was a little evasive, and so I feel like I was always kind of trying to like yearn.
Yeah.
And then so like I think it made me a try hard a little bit.
100%.
Like a pick me girl.
I didn't care about like the chase necessarily. I just wanted to happen, and then I want daddy to love me. I was like, I will work hard to make you love me. I don't care where you're at. I will put in the work. Like that's how I was for most of my dating. Very unsuccessful. I don't know what camera is mine, but very unsuccessful. Very unsuccessful. It wasn't fulfilling.
Yeah.
But, I was still in and out of relationships. I did.
Still, like, you were trying. You're giving your college try.
Oh, yeah.
When did you meet your fiance?
At the very beginning of the pandemic. So
2020.
May 2020.
Wow.
On Hinge. Not sponsored.
It works. It works.
kinda
I have a
works.
girlfriend who now is married and they just had a baby and they met on Hinge.
Yeah. Yeah, it is
Works.
truly for deleting. Anyways, yeah, it wasn't until like a few years ago that I finally figured out like, oh, right. I would rather be single and way happier than with someone and miserable.
Oh, yeah, of course. I
This
feel
is-
like we all, right?
Yeah, rationally, you know this. But in my little heart that wanted daddy to love me, I would just like get involved in situations. You know what
It's
I mean?
like people, like, I'm like, can be an incessant people pleaser. And I
Yes.
think of
Just like, you like me? That sounds great. I love that that's my favorite quality about you.
Exactly.
Which is really not good.
That's not a foundation for a long-term relationship.
No. Are you dating somebody right now, Mike?
No.
Are you looking?
I am.
looking?
I am.
Where you looking?
Are you looking? I want to
That's-
just mimic you. Just he's in a pod over here.
We're like the two old guys in the Muppets, Stadler and Waldorf. They're like, this guy over here.
But this is what I love about Nina's comedic persona is that, like me, she's a baritone and a lady, and I think, it's like I like the contrast. I feel like I like your bits when you
I love
like
when
say
Nina
that.
tries to fold her face. She puts her lips really tight and puts the.
I like knowing that straight men are very confused when they meet you because like your
Yeah.
waist and your face is snatched, but then your voice sounds like you're like fucking Barry White, or
Yeah.
you're about to yell at me about my pizza. You know what I mean?
know, it's bad.
Like, give me your order.
You're gonna put fucking
Yeah.
ranch on your pizza? That's fucking sacrilegious. Get that the fuck out of here.
What are you from, Wisconsin?
What are you fucking? You gotta put ranch on there? That's disrespectful to my family. When they immigrated here, when they were in Ellis Island, 1882, when they came here, they said, "You put fucking ranch on the pizza?"
That is so hot to me. So like I'm a 2 on the Kinsey scale, and that you could have me.
Oh my God,
if
thank
you did
you.
that.
Thank you.
I would really, I really wish I would have not seen you do comedy before I met you. Like that was the first time I met you. Is I heard you on a microphone. I would love the impact of you just like me walking up to you and you having like this come hither kind of like you're a very beautiful woman.
Thank you.
But then just having that moment, just like hi, my name is Mike, and then you going, I like the cut of your jib. Just like,
And by that I mean the tip of your penis. That's what I call it. I call it a jib. That's just saying, right?
I'm like, I gotta go back to my
She felt like
neighborhood.
it's a
I gotta go back to my
circumcision.
neighborhood. It was nice meeting you.
it was like it's like a circumcision compliment when they say like the
I can
cut of
listen to
your
this
jib.
all day. This is literally the podcast. I just
I
want
like
to
the
hear.
cut of your jib, Mike.
I do sound like a union worker
Yeah.
in like
100%.
Jimmy Hoffa era.
100%.
I think it's fun to subvert expectations, and I think that's why I do
love
that. But
that.
it's also just very part and parcel to who I am. But it is funny because I've seen, it's fun. It's like a little bit of a switch up. But I can't not talk like this. I am a baritone.
Were you-
I don't.
I
I'm always been
forget.
like
I forget.
this.
Were you like a tomboy at all growing up?
No.
You were
I
not.
don't- I fucking
You
hated
very much have
sports.
that energy, but like
I
in
was
a
a
very
tomboy.
cool way.
I was not a tomboy. I love like Barbies. I was like super hyper feminine, but
Did
I
you
was
beat them because you have that energy? Like you slapped around your Barbies.
Yeah. They just found
Did
them
they mud
hog
wrestle?
tied. They were like, "That's not good." I'm like, "Yes, I want."
Whose shoes were this in your dollhouse?
I was not a tomboy at all. I was very feminine, but I was very goofy. I loved being, so I think that's what it is. I love being goofy. Being goofy is really fun. And it has just kind of talking about my little dating when I was younger. I had insatiable crushes on boys, and they were not reciprocated because I
You
was
were
too
boy
weird.
crazy.
I was too goofy. I was really weird.
Me too. That was the same way.
And I would like do
I
weird.
had a crush on a bunch of girls.
Yeah, I do weird shit, and then like this like little fucking 8-year-old girl who looks like is like Adam Sandler. That's bad. We don't like
Yeah.
that. We like Adam Sandler. We don't have crushes on him.
Yeah.
So it didn't work.
But it
out.
was one at a time, right? It would be like I'd have a crush on a girl like for 6 months.
Yes.
And I have this very deep inner life, like not in an obsessive way, like in a
fantasy, yeah.
like a nice fantasy. And the fantasy was always way better than the reality. You know what I mean? But yeah, I never had that moment where I loved girls from like the moment I saw them when I was younger.
Yeah, me too.
I never had a cooties face.
I saw like a guy with like a boy with like spiked hair, and he'd be wearing like an O'Neill T-shirt, and I'm like,
Where did you grow up?
Orange County.
Of course, it's an O'Neill
Yeah.
t-shirt. I was like,
So he was wearing a Billabong t-shirt and etnies, and he had bleach tips spiked hair and a little puka shell
I
necklace.
just wanted to ride on his pegs, and he would never let me ride on his
Actually, my
pegs.
first kiss was with a boy named Cody.
Oh,
just to
of
give
course
you-
it was
And he was
Cody.
wearing a World Industries shirt with like a flame on it.
Wow, flames.
Pretty
God.
cool. There was a World Industries shirt that said on it, it said, "When hell freezes over, I'll snowboard there."
That's exactly who that guy looks like.
Oh, I hope
That's
he's
the
in
guy that
hell
taught
now.
me how to snowboard. Oh my God, you just imitated that guy.
Oh my God. Actually, I have a great, there is a question from a listener that I totally forgot about that relates to exactly what we're talking about. So this is pretty fucking good. Allow me to find it really quick. We source questions from a lot of our listeners, as you know, but there was like a few. Okay, this is guide for having sex for the first time.
Wow,
Say it again.
Guide for having sex for the first
that would have
time.
been nice.
Don't miss. No.
I mean, yeah, there was also a question about like kind of being a late bloomer and
Oh yeah.
what to do with that, but it's like guide for having sex for the first time. Do you guys have any good advice?
Like for the first time ever?
Yeah,
Or for the
but-
first time with somebody?
Ooh, great. I don't know, no context. Let's
You
say
wanna do
first
both?
time ever. Yeah, we'll do both.
Guy for the first time, you're gonna suck. You're gonna suck. And it's okay. Just pay attention and get better. And build up to being present and not thinking about other things. Like,
Being
that's-
present is very good.
Being present is a
Very
good a good guide for life. I mean, it's
Yes.
yeah.
It is. And it's also, but I think it's scary when you're afraid of doing something. Being present feels like the opposite of what you want to do because you kind of want to
Yeah.
grit your teeth and like disassociate just
Yeah.
so you can get through
And
it.
overanalyze.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah. No, my suggestion is be like me. Be a very horny girl and start masturbating when you're like in the 5th grade.
Bro.
Yeah.
Okay, and then get really good at that. Hopefully, you don't have other like cultural things to get in the way of that and like make you feel shameful. Because I didn't, which was great.
Oh, that's good.
And when you get really good at knowing your own body, once you start doing things with someone else, it's like awesome.
But then with that math, that means like a guy who like isn't incessantly like jerking off is good at fucking, which is almost always the opposite.
It's
You know
true.
what I mean?
It's true. And it's also choosing the right person.
Right.
I have because I like didn't have sex until I was like 21 basically. I have so many girlfriends who would like during like slumber parties or like just hangouts would talk about their first experiences, and it was always I was a teenager in high school
Yeah.
and it was awful or boring or nothing happened. Like it was always negative, and I was like, I was 21 and the bone was great, you know?
Really?
Yes.
Oh, that's really good.
Yeah.
That's good for you because I lost
You know what I'm
virginity.
saying?
Yes, that's because you had more experience. I'm even thinking of like I think the first time with somebody ever is like gonna be a little bit awkward. And not
Yes.
first time, like first time having sex ever. Also it was kind of perfect because I just really it was like swallowing a vitamin. I just wanted to get it done. I was like 15 and it was like maybe like 5 pumps. Like it was just like boom, boom,
Yeah.
boom, done. And I was like, cool, checklist.
Yes.
It was a checklist sex. It
was.
wasn't.
This was in high school.
Yeah.
Every high school story of a straight girl always ends with that.
Yeah.
Thank God it's over.
Yes. Like you're like, oh, it's like getting a booster shot, but it's a dick in your pussy. You know?
A different kind of jab.
Yeah, a different kind of
nice.
jab. I would say having sex for the first time ever is like communication. I think sometimes I would get
Yes.
so afraid of, and this was more so like the the naivete of youth, and self-consciousness, where I mean I couldn't even look people in the eyes. I was so scared. I was like,
Were you like completely lights out, dark?
a little bit, but it sounds like a weird trauma response, but it wasn't. Like for me, I can speak to this like knowing that I'm like, no, it was good. I was enjoying it. I was happy to be there. It was consensual, but I was like so afraid of like maybe the ramifications or implications of that sort of intimacy in a weird way. I can kind of psychoanalyze it now. I think at the time I wasn't, I wish that my noggin wasn't developed enough to like have the foresight, but I think in general when you're having sex with somebody for the first time too, give it a little leeway because I mean first time I've had sex with somebody who I've ended up being with like for a long time is kind of awkward. There's a lot of stakes.
Yeah.
Like if you really like somebody, I feel like the first time you have sex is like not great because you're just like, I hope this goes well and I hope they don't think I'm weird.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like you hope they're not weird and it is okay. So I think there's some nervous energy and just be as present as possible, but also know that like sex will get better the more you have it with somebody that you care about. I
Yes.
think that's like a good earned thing that you have with your partner. But sex for the first time ever, just like be comfortable and go slow. Go really slow.
And choose the right person. I think for me, it's about choosing the right person.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I feel like
It
I chose the wrong
is.
person. I didn't really
Well,
give a shit.
I think that's a good piece of advice for both men and women. I don't know who
Yes.
this person
yeah,
is,
it's
but
genderless.
yeah, just like especially for men who worry so much about like making women orgasm and everything like that. Like it's so much easier if she likes you.
Oh, it's psychological.
It's so much easier if she likes you.
I don't think a woman
Yeah.
can have an
Yeah.
orgasm unless she likes you in some way, shape, or form. Because I think that women are significantly more cerebral and like and psychological. That they're like, I have to like mentally be in the headspace to like
Yeah.
even let this happen. you
Right.
know?
We're not machines.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you.
Oh my God. Not like me. Give me 1 minute and a finger. I'm done.
I used to when I was a kid.
Just one? Okay.
Just one. That's nice.
5 palms and 1 finger.
Yeah.
We guarantee it.
Yeah.
Orgasm accomplished.
Yeah.
I when I was a kid, I humped for dear life, dude.
Yeah, I love the pillow.
Oh my God,
Love the
stuffed
pillow.
animals, everything.
As
just,
do you remember they used
Arms
to
of
give out like
sofas.
you remember the Hunchback of Notre Dame, the
Yes,
cartoon when
of
it came out?
course.
And at McDonald's or Burger King they had like the dolls.
yeah.
I got an Esmeralda one and I constantly fucked the shit out.
I don't like that visual at all.
No, she was hot. You remember how hot she was?
She was
Esmeralda?
really hot.
Oh my God, she was voiced by Demi Moore for some reason.
She was kind of like Spicy Belle from Belle and the
Yeah.
Beast.
I
Or
guess
like
I don't
Beauty
like
and the
the
Beast.
idea of her being so small.
She looked like Eva Longoria, but for some reason Demi Moore was her voice in the thing. She was hot. I used to I used to
It's
like
funny how-
spoon with it and shit. It was the best.
Aw,
As
cute.
children, we like wanted to fuck inanimate objects in cartoons.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like I was like John Smith and Pocahontas. I'm like, take me away, colonizer. Like, let's go. I thought he was-
Now I'm married to an inanimate object. Yeah. Sorry, that was the time for the voice to come out.
Oh, I'm like, was
Sorry.
that an impression of me?
No, the voice jumped your body and possessed me for a moment.
yeah.
Get out, mechanic. Back to Nina. Yeah.
I know. I should do a seance in here. Where it's like Ghost, where it's like, that's the weirdest thing in that movie, Ghost, where Whoopi Goldberg is like, actually, Patrick Swayze's in me, so I can fuck you, and it's like he's fucking you. I'm like, who wrote this movie? It's fucking Robert Zemeckis is a freak.
But then but the image turned to like it's him, not her. If it was truth, it would be like us seeing Whoopi Goldberg fucking to be more.
Oh my God. Well, no, didn't they kind of like hint on that, or she like touches her like face, and that's like all you get.
And then it transforms.
Yeah,
into
you're like,
oh, it's Patrick Swayze.
Hey, yeah, all right. Well, actually, I have another question, because this is kind of what we're talking about, but
Yeah.
it's interesting. Maybe you grew up religious, so maybe you have some.
I wasn't personally religious, but I grew up surrounded by
I feel like doesn't that affect
Yes.
your like even judgment of like your,
100%.
yeah, of course.
Yes.
I feel well.
What's
This
the question?
person says, I'm a virgin, but no one believes me. I want to wait for that special gal. Everyone thinks I'm nuts. Is it worth waiting?
I'm assuming they're a guy.
Yeah.
Is it worth waiting?
Nah, bro.
No. It's honestly not.
It's
I was
really
I was
not.
that guy. That's why my first time was when I was 21. I
Really?
was 21, and it ended up being with like some party girl that I met. She really didn't like me. It was annoying. Like we were cool.
Did you just want to get it over with?
I
Is
just
that
wanted to get it
why?
over with
Yeah.
because I was like, this shit's not happening. It's just not happening.
Right.
And I'm wasting time, and then I'm gonna be like not good at certain things by the time I do find something like that.
Yeah, you were like stressed out
This
about
was
it. I
practice.
gotta
This
get
was
it
good
done.
practice.
It was practice.
Yes.
And again, I really liked girls, and I was like, look, you don't have to be in love with every girl that you sleep with. Like that's unhealthy. You have to like them.
Yeah.
You have to
A little
respect.
bit.
You have to respect them on a certain level.
That sucks to people I don't respect.
Yeah, no shit. But-
I feel like
well,
this,
that's where you and I are different. You're a man and you don't feel, and I'm a woman. And sometimes I make love to the spirit of a mechanic. That's what it is. Yeah.
I feel like I need more context from this person because it's like, why have you waited for so long?
Yeah.
If you've waited because you feel insecure about your body or your
Yeah.
abilities, that's one thing. If you've waited because of religion, that's totally another thing. Do you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
is it trauma? We don't know.
We
So
don't know.
let's I feel like that requires more
Context.
But
yeah.
also, but the idea of special someone, that's a lot of pressure to put on a person you haven't met yet.
Yeah.
I agree. And also, like, the standards, I feel like you can keep changing the goalposts
Right.
of what is acceptable and special and genuine to you.
Yeah.
And I feel like for the first time, and look, everybody's view on sex and physical intimacy is totally different. I respect that. So you should really listen to the inner metronome of yourself of, like, am I comfortable with this? Am I not? Because I think sex a lot of times can be meaningless. I really do.
Yeah.
I was like, I mean, I was a fucking hoe for a long time. I like, you know, I've had a lot of sexual experiences and I've had a lot of fun. And so for me, I'm like, I can be pretty flippant and casual about sex. I've had a lot of one night stands, no problem. But some people are like, ooh, I really can't do that. I'm really uncomfortable with that. And I wouldn't say like, well, you know, you should just go out and fuck everyone, because that might not be good for you.
No.
Yeah.
So this person, like, it's like, okay, if you really want to wait for somebody special, just make sure that they're like, what if they're just like in this special realm? How about don't wait for the exact right person that you want to spend the rest of your life with, because then that's way too much pressure. If it's somebody that you're like, you know what? I like the cut of this girl's jib.
Yeah.
And I like, but if it's somebody who's like,
Rub
okay,
that jib.
Well,
yeah, it's like it's a girl who's like kind, and like you guys have some, like, you know, there's some reciprocity of likeness. Maybe that's the special person.
Yeah.
You know.
and I was this guy, by the way. I
What?
was this guy. That's
Really?
why
Yeah.
I'm telling him he needs to. Because again, it's a lot of pressure to put on women, man, to be this like idea. And we've learned now that we're becoming, I love gender equality to no end, because it's proving that women are just as useless as men. Does that make sense? Like, there's a bunch of, you know what I'm saying? Like I like that we've gotten rid of the idea of like, there has to be this perfect, pure one. Like, no one can live up to that idea.
Yeah, if you're a pedestal person, like
Yeah.
where you like to put people or
I
things
used to
on
be
a
that.
pedestal,
Yeah.
then that's the worst.
I scared a lot of women away too because of it, and it sucks. It's a terrible
Because
feeling.
you're a romantic,
Yeah,
or you like perfection, and that's, as we know, perfection is the enemy of good. And sometimes sex is just good, and that's all you need, and it feels good, and that's all you need.
And by the way,
Nothing more.
I like that.
All the stuff that I ended up being like the most, all the women I ended up being the most in love with, and it's only been 2, but the women that I've ended up being the most in love with were not the idea of what I had that to be.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, the facsimile of what you think it's going to be, like, that's never going to go toe-to-toe with reality. You're only going to actually just limit yourself more from possibilities and, you know, free yourself.
My first steady girlfriend was from Tunisia. I didn't even know that was a country when we met.
Wait, where's Tunisia, though?
It is in North Africa.
That's right.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah.
Love that for you.
Yeah, it was great. English was her 3rd language. I never would have thought like that would have been the first like girlfriend I would have had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're just like, I mean, that's the thing. I just think opening yourself up to possibilities is extremely healthy.
Yeah.
I love that. I think I would recommend this person, even if they're not fully prepared to just go all the way, that they become a little flirt slut. Okay? So become a slutty flirt.
That's a good idea.
Do you know what I mean? Just to like play with people, make eye contact, jokey jokes, little nudgies. Because what that does is
But doesn't that only work for charming people?
yeah, so that it implies, or you just have to practice
It
or
can be
watch
tough.
some like weird, MRA person recommend how to pick up chicks. I don't know, but I think being interested in other people, right, and making eye contact and like showing interest is like the best foundation for being charismatic. You know what I mean? And then you find out who responds to you, and it's so fun. Even if you're not going to have sex, then you know who's like open to you.
Yeah.
And that's fun. And then just warm up there. I feel like that's my recommendation for people.
Watch George Clooney in Out of Sight. That'll teach you how to flirt with women.
Wow.
I honestly I've modeled.
God, like what?
I've modeled the way I flirt.
Well, yeah, give us some tips.
After
Yeah.
George Clooney in Out of Sight, there's this great scene with him and Jennifer Lopez in a hotel bar in Detroit. Detroit, the unsexiest place in the world. But it's snowing, and the way that Soderbergh lights everything, it makes it seem like, oh my God, Detroit is like a fantasy land. Detroit is an aphrodisiac. And the way that like Clooney is like he talks to, and he does in most films, where he has like this smile that's like closed and he's really paying attention. Like I learned how to flirt watching George Clooney. So watch George Clooney movies.
So it's just intense listening, eye
Yeah.
contact,
Yeah, that's what women like. We're like, listen to us.
and a little smile. Literally, that's all I need.
Oh my God.
need.
Sometimes I've had like, when I was single, I would have dates with guys where I was like, I think that went really well. I'm like, oh, he said 5 words.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I feel really good about that.
That's how that works. You just listen and have a slight smile.
I got really good at it without knowing that I got good at it.
Really?
Yeah, because again, I was like bigger growing up. I was romantic. I scared away a lot of women with just intense energy. And then eventually I calmed down. I remember when I worked at Rustic, one of the servers came up to me and she goes, we were talking. And we were like, who's the best flirt? And we're like, it's Mike. And I'm like, what? And she goes, yeah, like you're the best flirt. I'm like, I'm not trying to flirt. She's like, that's what's kind of genius about it. Cool. Cool. I'm like all those George Clooney movies.
Oh my God, you are
Right.
George Clooney.
I'm trying to be the.
I want to talk about, you said something that interests me about like putting people on a pedestal, which is obviously like that's the worst thing to do. And I think that it's not just, you know, with this listener, it's not just men doing that with women. A lot of times women do that with men.
And they're like, I won't date him unless he makes 6 figures. He's
Yes.
6 feet tall. He has like piercing blue eyes.
And I'm like, you're going to, because you're putting such a impetus and importance on things that really kind of don't matter, a little superficial, then you're going to be like, he's all of these things that like he marks all of these physical checklist things that then he's going to basically be like, I don't know, a sociopath or something like that.
100%.
He's going to like suck. Like, I feel like, I don't know, there's a lot of women even like looking at like, well, I have to wait for the perfect guy because I'm not going to sell myself short. I have a lot of girlfriends that are in their, you know, that are my age and they're like, you know, mid 30s and they're kind of like, well, the next person I date is going to be my husband, so I really need to like be careful. And I'm like, yes, I understand that. That time is finite when our biological clock is like
Totally.
fucking ticking so loud. I'm like, shut up. But I think you have to just kind of like, I don't know what is out there. I don't know what the, you know, universe is going to provide for me in terms of a partner. And I'm just going to kind of be open and see what happens. Because I might meet somebody that, you know, he wasn't my I don't know. I might meet somebody with brown eyes. And then I'm like, oh, okay, I'm in love with this guy.
Yeah, I feel like the pedestal for a lot of straight women becomes the checklist. And I know for a fact that I used to have a checklist. At first, it was, in my head. It was
See,
like,
a lot of women will say, okay, I have girlfriends that are like, oh, you should write down what you want in a partner.
and women will do that too.
Do you think that's healthy?
I think it's
don't.
healthy. I think it's healthy as a process, but not as like a complete mandatory description. Because at first it was like, oh, I just want a guy that I want to make out with. That was early 20s.
Yeah.
Then it was like, oh, I only like men that like are 6 feet tall and athletic and play double sports in college. Okay, great.
Well, have fun. You have fun with them.
Right?
Their knees get weak when they get older.
And then
I'm still running.
Yeah, they'll get osteoporosis if you want to deal with that.
And then I realized, oh no, this is ridiculous. They don't have to be a certain height, and maybe they don't have to be a certain race, because I only used to date men of color, because I was like, politically, all these other reasons, maybe that'll be more compatible. And then I was like, maybe I should like date nerdier guys that aren't necessarily as athletic. And then I was like, and then I had my little like, you know, sad white boy phase with PhDs, you know, like
That seems like you would do that.
Right.
I feel like, yeah, sad white, depressed white men that like.
with PhDs.
And that then you're like, oh, they're so smart and you're charmed by
Overthinkers,
it.
yeah.
Like, but then you realize they're only book smart.
Ugh.
And then you're like, oh, wait, this guy's kind of an idiot. And then
And
you
I'm
see
an
him like
extra-
pack a suitcase and you're like, this guy's a fucking idiot.
Yeah, and I'm an extroverted comedian, and I was like, oh my God, I need to like figure this out.
See, that's
Yeah.
the thing. I like that you said that, book smart. I realized that what I want in a partner is analytical intelligence, not book intelligence.
Oh,
Yeah.
right.
I like-
It doesn't
I-
matter their
Well,
education. or
right. I
whatever.
like people that can look at information and then concisely tell me what they feel about the information that they just took in.
Critical thinkers.
Critical thinkers,
Critical
analytical
Yes.
thinkers. Just book smart. I can't do
Dude,
it.
there's a lot of we fell into I fell into that category. I literally dated like almost the same like sad white guys that were like smart.
Yes.
And I was like they're so, because I was like, oh, they're sensitive and poetic.
Yes.
But really it's because like they have the privilege of having a really good education.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And then I'm like, is that really like, I guess like, yeah, opportunity, like you just kind of you were opportunistic in your education, like, and what it provided for you. That's cool, but like, I don't feel like that makes you any like more interesting or cool.
Yeah, they were kind of afraid of the world, or like didn't know how to navigate.
I realize that you can be really smart and boring as hell. Like,
Oh
I
my
didn't
God.
even think about
Yes.
that. I never in my life even, I was like, oh, if you're smart, you're just like interesting, you're analytical, you have a lot
Yes.
like of things going on.
These are the people that like regurgitate information as if it's interesting that they know it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I was like, wow, he is actually so boring. Like,
Yeah.
it took me to my late 20s to be like, oh, this guy's boring.
Yeah.
No, but that's what happens is as we grow older and more mature and we know more about humans, we realize we're like, oh, actually, what we thought was a red flag or a green flag or is a signifier of intelligence or whatever is not what we really care about. What we really care about is maybe they're just more interesting in conversation. Because they say relationships are just one long conversation, right? Like if you get married or whatever. So you need to choose someone that you can have the longest conversation with that would still sustain you. And I was like, oh, that makes so much sense. But like, that's the thing. Like, we hear so much like dating advice, and it's like logical maybe, but like to actually feel it in your bones.
Yeah, to apply it.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
A whole different thing, you know? I used to have these weird prejudices. Like, we don't even know the beliefs that are deep inside. Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah,
we're not even,
I
like,
totally.
I truly, like, I'm a feminist and whatever. But like, in my head, I was like, if you're not over 5'10", your dick is small. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I used to think. It was like an deeply, deeply hidden belief that I'd never really interrogated. And then one day, it just requires that one man who's like 5'5". I was like, wow, why is he sexy? And then it just exploded this belief that I thought I had. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then I like hooked up with this physical trainer who was like my height. I was like, God damn, he's hung. Like, I was like, holy shit, I was wrong this whole time.
Dude, dick size and height have no correlation in any way, shape, or form.
I am an
ever.
intelligent.
For the ladies out there, I'm short as hell.
I am an intelligent, feminist, smart woman. Why am I
I
not?
can't do this. and
Why am I
crush me.
thinking these things? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, why am I thinking? It's like there's so many like internalized beliefs
Sure.
that we just don't even like unearth, and it affects how we treat attraction, how we treat people.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of like secretive thoughts just bubbling up the surface that we're not even aware of. We just have
100.
these like, I mean, that's like what like that's why people have like there's something inherent and what is the word that you use, like almost Jesus Christ, like we're indoctrinated in this way that we're not even aware of. I think like before
Subconscious.
we're even
Yeah,
completely subconscious.
It's internalized.
Well, yeah.
Internalized. It's like internalized misogyny or internalized like
Yes.
racism. And
Homophobia.
Oh yeah, no, my
whatever.
misogyny is out here. I don't keep it
yeah,
in.
you're like, I think you guys are dumb.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Could you guys go in the other room?
I got a fart. Actually.
Can we do the podcast from the other room, please?
I feel like as comedians too, like we're probably smarter,
Yeah.
sharper, and our job is to be entertaining, is to be lively and interesting. And literally 90% of the population is not going to be like that.
No.
And so that's also narrows like the field in terms of like what might make you like, do you need someone to have that kind of back and forth with? Like, you need to ask that of yourself. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Maybe you don't. Maybe you need someone who's just like into books or whatever. But what I realized with my current partner, who's going to be my he is so curious, so interesting, street smart. He's like the person that like could get us through the bouncer if we didn't want to be in line, kind of a guy. And I was like, oh my God, he's more extroverted than me. He used to be a DJ and did nightlife, so it's like understood like entertainment, whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, I never knew I could date someone like that, because he's like a salesperson. And in my head, I was like, I'm a salesperson. I know a salesperson when I see one. I don't need another salesperson in my life. And lo and behold, it's like we're actually highly compatible. And
That makes sense. I think
You know?
I think that something you brought up that's like very attractive to me is curiosity.
Yes.
If somebody has a curious mind and they're just like, you know, I'm always looking at things, because if somebody is unmovable, that's when I'm like, oh, you're just like satisfied
Yeah.
with the bare minimum.
So boring.
That's not inspiring. I want somebody who like inspires me. But I think like you want somebody complimentary, and I totally am on the same page with you, because my boyfriend now is like a very gregarious, like high energy person who's really like extrovert and bubbly. I'm still more extroverted than him, but he is like really funny and has a big personality.
Yes.
And I always dated these kind of like meekish like guys who were kind of shy, but like they were like, you're amazing. And I was like, yeah, this guy's so smart. Yeah, that's right. Like, yeah, but it's
Right, because
just
on paper, you're like, he's impressive.
yeah, or like I just felt like I think that dynamic of like this strong, powerful woman with just like, or even just like a guy with a big personality usually has like a woman who is like a little bit more like meek. And I think the same will go for a really powerful, like gregarious woman. Like there'll be guys that are just like, oh, I'm so, you know, transfixed on how interesting she is and everything like that. But I realized like, no, I want somebody to be like go toe to toe with me, not in a competitive way, but just
No.
like we can keep volleying
Yeah.
like back and
Exactly.
It's a
forth.
balance.
Yeah.
Definitely the women that have gone to my heart had that kind of energy, that kind of energy to counterbalance me. Because you know me, I'm gregarious. I like being around people, and there would get to be a certain point where it would just be us two, and I'd still be doing that, and then they look at me and be like, "Are you done?" I'm like, "Uh huh."
Yeah, when you're like are on, I know. I totally feel like, especially when you first date as a comedian, at least I would feel like, I would be like, razzle dazzle, this is the biggest show of your fucking night, baby.
You don't stop performing even when you get off stage. Everyone's looking. She's looking.
I definitely don't do that. I 100%.
I don't do that no
She's going to find out I'm a normal person, and this is all a big show. Got to keep going. Got to keep going. Got to keep going.
No, like, I feel like at some point I just started to learn, like, oh no, I need to not be the person working so hard to make daddy love me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like that whole, like, if they show any disinterest and you're like, you run away. Not that you have to run away, but that was a lesson I needed to learn. I needed to be like, oh no, I'm just going to take all of this as information of their interest or their worthiness or compatibility with me, and then I can decide whether or not I should be with this person.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like I didn't think that way. I had such low self-esteem that I was just like, oh my God, you have interest in me? Let's get married. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, like the bare minimum. I know. I was like that. I was like that until like my mid-20s for sure. Like where I was just like, oh, you like me? That's good enough.
Yeah, exactly.
That's totally fine. I won't even decide if I like you back. I just am like, okay, you are into me. Mike, do you have a type?
You know, I didn't think I did.
But it's women named Esmeralda that are 5 inches tall and made of plastic.
Romanian women that are voiced by white women. That's my type. I have a friend of mine that spotted it recently because I never did. She said, you like angelic faces. The body types are different. The ethnicities are different. But you like angelic faces. I do. I like an angelic face.
What's an angelic face? Give me an example.
It sounds beautiful.
Like big, like really big eyes.
Yeah.
Like very big eyes and like natural pouting lips and
you're like my type.
No, 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 no,
attractive
I don't mean that.
girl.
No. It's because it could be on any type of a body. That's the point I'm trying to make.
But that could be attractive too. I feel like the face, to me, I don't know. I'm a face person.
Yeah, I'm just face. Yeah.
So angelic faces.
Yeah, because I feel like I have a more rugged type of face. I have like darker features, so I think I'm attracted to lighter.
The opposite, light. Okay,
Blondes?
like cherub.
No, it could be
blue eyes.
Hair colors.
Doesn't matter.
Everywhere. No, I've usually been attracted to women with brown eyes.
Brown eyes. Okay.
Brown eyes, or maybe they've been attracted to me rather.
What about personality type?
Like none. Like shut up. No, I like
shut up.
A doll, a 5-inch doll.
I like
I knew it.
personality type. Again, I like analytical thinkers. So like
Smart women.
Yeah, but not. It's so weird because the two girlfriends I had didn't actually have college educations, but they were smarter than any of them.
I don't have a college education.
Yeah, I don't, no, but I do. That's the point I'm trying to make. I had more education than them, but they were much smarter than any woman any women I'd ever been around.
That had an education.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. I mean, when you're talking about being able to converse with somebody.
Yeah.
When I was like the most in love, like 4 hours flew by in 10 minutes.
Oh yeah.
It was like acid. And
Yeah.
when they had to go and they're like, I gotta go, I'd be like, no, don't go.
Yeah.
Let me do some Superman shit.
I need
and
another
rotate the
hit.
earth again.
Another hit.
That's really the feeling that I'm looking for. Like,
Yeah.
Whirlwind.
when a woman says she has to go, I'll be like, no, I know you have to. Just don't.
When you get that,
Quit your job. We'll live under the bridge, baby.
when you get that feeling from a woman, did they treat you well too?
Once yes, the other one no.
Okay.
The other one no, not because she didn't want to, it's just she couldn't.
Right.
And that's another thing when you figure out in dating. Another thing that you realize when you get older, everyone has their nature, and you can't be mad at people for acting within their nature.
Oh yeah, that's that is like an adult lesson of letting go. Like there's, oh my God, in so many ways we kind of particularly, this maybe goes more so with like family or parents, but like we so much want I want like a parent to love me in a very prescriptive way of like, you're my father and this is how you're supposed to love me. You're my mother and you're supposed to comfort me and love me in this way. And when you realize that like you're constantly trying to chase this proverbial carrot and you're not getting it, and so you're always in the cycle of disappointment and like sadness and whatnot. And I'm like, oh wait, I am getting love, but it's the ways in which they're giving it to me.
Yes.
And I think that, and I can accept that way, because I think that there's some people, it's like there's some people that are like, it's just not in their nature to do this.
Yeah.
But you can look at what
just
they
not
can
capable.
give. and say, does this work with me? If it doesn't, then yeah, it's just kind of like different strokes for different folks. Sayonara. It's been nice knowing you.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of times we can actually see what the person, like the way in which they give love or how they give comfort, and it can be different than like what your idea is of it or how you do it. You know, that's been like a big adult lesson for me of just like accepting people as they come, how they are.
Love language. That's what you're talking about, isn't it?
Yes, but isn't every woman, like I feel like every woman, they're like love language. I'm like, all of them?
Yeah.
Every single one.
I speak 5 love languages.
I'm
Fluent in all of them. Yeah,
Just in case I go to Europe.
It is like how you like to receive love and how you like to give love. I do believe that there is some usefulness to that for sure.
What are the
Unlike
languages
words
again? Covering up crimes.
Right.
Heist. Performing a heist together.
Yeah.
Gemstones.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah.
Mixing
arts and crafts.
Mixing your blood together in a bowl and putting a fresca in the bowl.
Wait,
and then
basically
drinking
just
it.
witches and burglars? Is that who you're talking about?
Witches and burglars. That's my memoir.
Like a shitty board game.
Witches and burglars. My life in comedy.
Yeah. There's touch, which every guy's like, touch.
Yeah.
Touch me, please. Yeah, touch. Don't my dick. Please touch it.
But are we talking about like physical affection? Like
Yes, physical affection and
or
touch.
what white Americans call PDA, which by the way, that shit doesn't exist in Latin culture. PDA does not exist. I totally don't get that, by the way, people who don't touch each other that are together.
Yeah, if you're not fingering
That
your
happened
wife
most-
in public,
Yeah.
you're not married.
Dude, that happened at Los Feliz all the time. Like, I'd see people and they're like, yeah, they've been together 5 years. I'm like, why are they standing next to each other like fucking Wednesday and Pugsley right now? It's like they look like American Gothic, hipster American Gothic, just the rancher.
God.
And the,
Yeah, but they have the same like bone deficiencies because
Yeah.
they like just do cocaine and
Yeah.
they're vegan, so
Yeah.
they just they also have rickets, like Dust Bowl era farmers.
we both like the Misfits, and we work from there.
How did this turn into throwing vegans under the bus? I feel like.
I don't know.
I know, they seem weak. They
Yeah.
seem weak.
No,
Just low
it's
iron.
fine.
No, it's
Just
fine.
low iron. Yeah, that's another thing.
I
I don't
have
like
loved
women with low
vegans.
iron. Yeah.
No, they're good. I like, we're near Erewhon. I support. Okay, that's fine.
So physical touch,
Physical touch.
quality time,
Quality time, acts of service,
acts of service,
gifts.
gifts. I don't like gifts.
I think that's it. Gifts is a weird one. Gifts is kind
Words
of
of
like
affirmation.
What are you, a boy prince?
Like, this pleases me. Get me the Hot Wheels set. Yes, I like that.
I think I like acts of service.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
I like
Yeah.
words of affirmation and acts of service. Those
Yeah.
are my two top.
Words of affirmation, and I think words are so easy.
I
Guys,
know.
I don't think it's men's strong suit a lot because I've
Right.
definitely had to tell my boyfriend, I'm like,
Hey, it makes me really happy when you say I'm pretty.
or you
Yeah,
like
yeah.
compliment me, and it took him so long to be like, yes, compliment.
You today look
The sweet.
okay, nice.
Oh no, it would be so funny.
Can I try? Can I try words of affirmation?
Yes.
Yeah.
The sweetness of your ass is only exceeded by the sweetness of your heart, and you have the sweetest ass I've ever seen in my life. Does that work?
That's a little clunky.
My bad.
That's a three-parter. It was a
Your ass
three-parter.
is sweet. Your ass. Your heart is sweet.
Ass sweet
Yeah.
heart.
I remember the first time, like when I tell my boyfriend, I'm like, hey, like please, like just say nice things to me, makes me happy. And watching him kind of panic, like he'd be like, okay, I'll see you later, but you look pretty. Like it would just like come out of nowhere, like he had Tourette's but with compliments, because you would just get this weird panic in his eye, and then just be like, and I like your shoes.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, what the fuck
It's
kind
funny
of
the words
Forrest
that-
Gump shit is this, dude?
It's funny the amazing words that women compel if you let them compel you to say them. I remember one time I said to a lady I was really into, I said, if I had a tail, that shit would be wagging every time you're around. Like I said that to her.
Ew, what are you,
I know.
a furry?
I know. Yeah. Thank you.
I would take that as a compliment.
Yeah, she liked
No, that
it.
is
She liked it a
sweet.
lot.
No, that's
She liked it
good.
a lot.
Because
I was
to
like,
me,
I'm-
that's like that. Probably
clever,
have you
too.
used that line elsewhere before?
No, that was it. I used
It
with
was
that one
genuine.
person.
It was genuine.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I never use like genuine things over and over.
Because you're romantic.
Because I'm romantic. Yeah,
You're
I want it to be
romantic.
genuine. Yeah.
Okay, guys, we have like one more question left. This has been really great, but we actually had somebody write in something that I think this will be an interesting one because and they asked to keep their. I know, dude, that's just popping.
Yeah, that happened to me before the show.
Yeah, you guys got a little pre-cum here. Sorry about that. Okay, this is this person would like to be anonymous. Everyone that we've said is anonymous, but okay.
Yeah.
So, for the past couple of years, I've dated women, and when we've stated our intentions and what we are looking for, I've always stated I want a long-term relationship, and they are usually okay with it in the beginning. But the majority of the time, after 3 or 4 months, they break it off and say they're not ready for anything serious right now. I take it as slowly as possible and do not rush anything if they don't feel comfortable with it. But I still feel like I'm doing something wrong for them to break it off. It's tough. This is a man, by the way. So dating women. I mean, it's tough. I don't think anybody should be making promises in the beginning of a relationship of like, yes, I'm looking for something long term. Because you don't know if that person that you're seeing is going to be that person. And sometimes you just see somebody for a few months, you give it your college try. If you're both genuinely like trying to date one another and you're like, you know what? There's actually just like an incompatibilities that have nothing to do with character defects. They're just
100.
like preferences.
This is a man, by the way?
Yes.
Yeah. What I'll say is that sometimes that's a polite way for women to kind of say, I don't want anything long term with you.
What do you mean? Like they're saying,
Yeah.
I'm looking for something long term?
No, when they because he's having a problem that they cut it off after 3 or 4 months.
Yes. Well,
Maybe
they say
that's
in the beginning that they want, they are, like he said, I'm always stating I'm looking for a long-term relationship.
Sure.
And they'll reciprocate and say, yes, me too. But then after 3 or 4 months, like,
That might just mean
it just means that they weren't compatible.
that might just mean they don't want one with you, and that's
Yeah.
okay. Because I've learned
That's okay.
I've learned often that women, especially, like letting down a guy is a lot harder for them because
Yeah.
he could possibly
yeah,
kill
because we're
you.
more empathetic.
Yeah, well, also it's
And
self-preservation. He
it's-
could possibly kill you.
Exactly. It's not safe.
So I've learned, like, for instance, I was dating somebody in the fall. I was really excited about them, and at a certain point, they kind of nitpicked something I said and turned it on me to break up with me. And they were trying to like
Make it okay in their
well, they were-
brain to
well,
break
they
your
were-
heart.
They were saying things like, I feel like you're not genuine. I feel like you just have game, and like all the things that you do are just to get sex. I'm like, yeah, I got sex from you already, though. I'm still here. So what? That's like not at all the thing. And then midway through, I thought to myself, oh, there's somebody else, and she doesn't want to like hurt me by saying. And then sure enough, a month later, there was, she was official with somebody
dating
else.
somebody.
She was official with somebody else. Like, and I saw their relationship the way it was on social media, and I was like, yeah, I couldn't be that guy. I couldn't have that type of relationship where you're hashtag codependency and yeah, I don't like shit like that. That's not who I am. And she did it to kind of spare my feelings. But I'm glad that I'm old enough. In the middle of her talking, I was like, oh, there's somebody else, and I need to let this go, and that's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay for her not to like me.
I think it's also like you can't put expectations on anybody. Like
No.
that's the way to live the easiest, most carefree, mellow fucking namaste existence is just to be like, I have no expectations except for anything external to you. You just can't force.
You
So
can't
even
control
if
it.
yeah, so even if like for this person, even if a woman's like, I am looking for something long term, you're already then being like, okay, like that means that's like a weird unwritten contract that they're like agreeing to, but
Right.
not necessarily. And I think that women do try to let people down like easy because I think
Yeah.
we're just like
Yeah.
it's hard to implement that hurt. I
Yeah,
think.
she couldn't say to me like I have feelings for somebody else because she has no idea how I would react.
Also, a lot of women, I mean, my more toxic traits, I would definitely do that where I'd be like, I would pick a fight with a guy so I could kind of get. I mean, I don't even think dudes do that. I think that's like a toxic trait that like a lot of women do because I've done that where like it'll be nothing. It'll be like some
Yeah.
little nothing,
Yeah.
and I'm like, well, that's actually symbolic. I do a lot of like, well, that's symbolic for this like sort of bad thing that I don't like.
Right.
And then I could use that as like, and that's why XYZ. I've realized in my current relationship that I'm the toxic one. I'm like, oh, I'm the problem.
So
like,
you have to always check yourself.
oh yeah, I
learn and
try.
grow.
I'll even catch myself being manipulative, and I'm like, whoa,
For no
whoa.
reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just be like, I guess if that's where you want to go for breakfast. I mean, it doesn't look like there's anything there for me, but
Oh my god.
that's fine. And I'm like listening to myself and I'm like, shut the fuck up. And then I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm being a cunt. Let me start over.
Yeah.
At least I catch myself. But yeah.
I have to call that out.
Oh.
I
Well,
would if I were your boyfriend.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, as someone who's engaged now, what was that thing that you like? What she's saying that she could be that way? What was the thing that you had to change before you could meet the person you're with now?
I had to really know what made me happy, and in fact, and then talk about it. Like, it's one thing to be like, I'm interested in a long-term relationship, period. But it's also, what's the content of that? What is the life that you want to live together? And so I 100% was like interested in a long-term relationship. I was like, I want my person, but I realized, I was like, okay, I need to date people so that I can learn about them and then decide if we're compatible. Because after the first couple dates, I can decide, are they in the running to be a potential partner, or are they in the running to be a really fun hang? Do you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And so with my guy, Corey, he was in the partner zone because he was compatible in these different ways. And I discovered that because in the first couple of Zoom dates, because this is early pandemic.
Aww.
I know. It was very like, it was like, dear Jedediah, I miss you. It was like very long term, like long range, not in person.
It's been a long winter. I have
Exactly.
come bearing pelts of beaver.
Exactly.
I'm writing with my teeth as my arms were taken in the battle.
Yeah. So we were Zooming in like June of 2020, right? And we immediately were like, yeah, like this is the kind of life I want to live. Like this is what makes me happy. And that's all we talked about. And the more, and like when you find someone who agrees with you or like vibes with your thing, then it becomes this like yes and. You're like, oh my God, yeah. I was like, yeah, also our last relationships, they were both similar in that they were very like introverted, didn't like people, all this stuff.
That's the worst.
Right. So when I was like, honestly, my dream is to have like an outdoor pizza oven and then just like have the homies come over whenever they want and I can just cook for them and make them drinks. And he's like, what? I'm living in a downtown warehouse where we have literally a table for 20 that we just had dinner. It was like a potluck upstairs. I was like, what? That's great. How do you have that? And so it just became this like, oh, okay, we're like on the same wavelength in terms of like what makes us happy.
I think that's a big thing of like having similar goals and desires, like even wanting the same lifestyle. Like I think
Yes.
that's a huge thing that like we'll go from relationships are alchemy. It's kind of crazy that we even get along in general because there has to be so many elements. You have to be compatible, sexually, obviously emotionally, mentally, all of these things. You have to but you have to have a lot of the same principles, morals, beliefs,
Yes.
and all of that. But a big thing is lifestyle. There's like,
100.
I live in New York and there's like girlfriends of mine. They're like, oh, we really like this guy, blah, blah. But his whole thing, like he told me that he would never he just works in New York and he would never want to live here for the rest of his life. He like wants to actually live on like a farm. And she's like, and I can't,
No.
I would never want to do that. And
Yeah.
so I'm like, well, this is just, one of us is going to make each other unhappy because I'm either going to be taken away from a life that I've always wanted or you're going to be taken away from a life you've always wanted. And that's just incongruent destinations. You can't do it. Because I think that it's so fun when you meet a partner that you're like, oh, like I like to host people. Me too. That's great. We can do this together. We can, I've always wanted to live in this city. And then like we can
Exactly.
like raise our kids here and then thinking about this. Or I like to travel. That's a big one. If you like don't like to travel, there's some people that don't, but I'm like, I could never date somebody like that.
Oh my God, you love drugging people at a bar and taking their liver out in a hotel room? So do I.
That
You
is
gotta
a
find-
really specific.
There's some couples that's
Wait a
their
minute.
thing.
Yeah, wait a second.
Haven't you watched a crime doc?
First of all, I'm staying at a hotel. Do you know Forensic Files is on my TV on HLN
yeah.
24/7
That's the
when I'm
joint.
at a
That's the
hotel.
joint right
I am
there.
obsessed.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, but that's so great that you found your person because that's such a fun when you're like, oh,
It's nice.
you're not going against the grain too. Like you're not like, okay, I like to do this and they like to stay in and do this, but like we gotta make it work. It's like, oh, this is so much. That's a relationship that has ease.
Oh,
Bellissimo.
I know. It's like,
yeah,
for sure.
it's so nice.
It is
Ease.
really nice. Yes, I think ease and comfort. I just never had that before.
So you're in a good place.
I am. He's awesome.
That's great. I like to. This podcast is fun because then I'll have people on there and be like, "See, don't you like your partner?" You're like, I do like him. What a good guy.
Oh no, I tell him every day.
No, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Well, guys, I think we should wrap. It's been about an hour, but that was really, really fun. I want to. I want you guys to plug yourself, but also, do you have any parting thoughts? Parting random advice, thoughts, maybe questions for me.
Oh.
I don't know. You could ask anything, but you could also say anything like, "Hey, any advice, anything."
Yeah, I would like to ask you something, Nina.
All right.
I've always wanted. I feel like we talked about this years ago, but
Okay.
I forgot the answer to it. Because I think my problem is I walk away from things a little too easily. romantically, because I don't agree with the statement of like maybe it'll be better sometime down the road. I've never subscribed to that idea.
Really?
It's the one romantic idea I don't subscribe to, which is just maybe 5 years from now or something, or maybe 2. I want to know what your thoughts are on that specific type of idea.
Okay, I would say I understand your initial instinct, but I think that you are rejecting yourself before you can get rejected. And I think that that might be not a great thing. And I think in a relationship, especially a long-term one, you know, the reason why there are vows that say in sickness and in health is because, and they mean that like, you know, there could be something happening with your partner, like interpersonally, emotionally, financially, and you have to say, do I really want to like step to the plate? Can I be with this person through thick and thin, you know, at their good, at their bad? So I think that that is an important and really valuable thing in a relationship. So I would hate to see you walk away from something because it's like, it's not really like what it's inconveniencing you in some way. But I think that I don't think you're that type of guy though. I think that like if you really love somebody, you would stick with them when they're going through a difficult
I
time.
fight for things, but there's nothing more like, one of my least favorite terms in the American lexicon is off and on. I hate that term. That's what I'm talking
so
about.
you ambivalence is
That's
the worst.
that's what I'm talking about.
An ambivalent relationship
Stop and
is
starting. I'm always like start, stop. That's it. That was the whole thing.
you don't want to get back to but that's super fair because I've done the same thing. I've never understood like, oh well, me and this guy have been dating for like on and off for years. I'm like, I could never, like, even when I've had a boyfriend for like a few months or a few years, it's like we do it, it's a one
That's
and
smart.
done run, and then
Smart.
we're fucking done.
I would
you
agree
know?
with that because I have broken up and gone back with people.
That almost never.
I've done-
Two different.
You know what it is?
Two different guys.
You know what it is that you break up for a reason.
100%.
You break up for a reason.
I've gotten calls from women that have broken up with me like a year or two after, and I just look at the phone and I don't answer it, and I just like shake my head like this.
Well, that's smart. That's smart. That's self.
It
That's self
like
protection.
hurts all over again.
I don't think that then you're doing something wrong. I think that if you can detect in yourself, you're like, oh, maybe I leave things a little too soon. But there has to be something inside of you that is giving you the reason to like not fight. You're like, because I think you're smart enough and you're emotionally in tune with yourself enough to be like, you know what, like this is something I can kind of push through.
Yeah.
But I don't.
Well, I like my freedom means everything to me. Like being free, and I don't mean romantically free. I mean intellectually. Like if I'm in a relationship, I'm in it. I'm not looking at anybody else or anything like that. But I mean, if I start to feel like I'm not emotionally or romantically free or spiritually free, then that's when it becomes a problem.
So I don't think it's a problem. I don't think that there are instincts for a reason. I think sometimes we negate our instincts.
Right.
You know, like, because we're just like, oh, whatever, I have a gut feeling. That's like, gut feelings are there for a fucking reason, man. I feel like a lot of times I used to be like, override it with logic of like, this guy makes me feel uncomfortable, but he's has a symmetrical face.
Yeah.
And so let's just keep doing this. And then I get fucked over in some way. So I think it's like, listen to yourself.
Yeah.
That's my advice to you.
I think it depends too because do you feel like there's somewhere inside you that feels like you could grow a little? You know what I mean? In terms of being more aware of how you might be able to be more open rather than feel like something is a threat to your freedom. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's just a question. I don't know what the answer is. Because I think my piece of advice, when I was sitting here, I was like, you know what's really helpful? I wish I did this sooner, is if you trust and love your friends, like if you really trust and love your friends, you have like dope friends, trust them when you ask them what they think about the person you're dating. Like I'm just saying, like if you really do trust and
That's
respect
scary,
your
though.
friend, I'm just saying, anytime that my friends have given me any kind of gentle feedback about whatever situation I was in, they were like 99% correct. I just obviously had to go through my journey and get back with someone or whatever. But I'm just saying, I think we should use that a little more.
That's such good advice, honestly, because I think when we're in the thick of it, like love and just like, and sex is such a drug that we can totally be blinded by just completely illogical. And so it takes somebody else who's like, listen, I'm not fucking this guy, and I'm telling you, he sucks, or like, I think that's great advice, but I've always been afraid to even ask that because I'm like, what if they don't like him and then I have to leave him?
Exactly. No one wants to do that. But I'm just saying, if you're really serious about your own happiness and you don't want to go through these like cycles of fucking torture, which is what I used to go through, I should have listened to my friends.
That's smart. Okay,
You
that's
know what I
good
mean?
advice. I like that. Okay, and with that, I think we should close. All right. Thank you so much for joining me. Jenny, where can they find you? Do you have anything you're working on, plugs, anything like
Yeah,
that?
you can always find me at jennyyang.tv or at jennyyangtv on Instagram and Twitter. I am touring. It's going to be announced soon. All around the country: Boston, Chicago, New York, Philly, Seattle, Portland.
All
We're
the
doing
big,
it all.
heavy hitters.
Yeah, and
Amazing.
I'm doing the show called Self Help Me, a competitive self-care comedy show. It's super fun, and I'm actually touring that as well. So go to jennyyang.tv for tickets. It's such a blast. We like sell out all the time.
I love that.
I'm gonna be acting with Michelle Yeoh in a Netflix drama,
Really?
action
What is it
drama
called?
in the fall called The Brother's Son. I play an assassin. I did stunts. It was
Wait,
fun.
for real?
Yeah.
Oh my God, Jenny.
Anyway.
Amazing. Well,
jennyyang.tv, come through.
yeah, the best. Mike, where can they
I
find
really
you?
should have gone first. I will. No, I'm doing some touring. I'll be in San Diego, San Jose, Chicago, Tampa, Atlanta. I'm about to be on season 2 of This Fool coming up. That's gonna be a lot of fun.
I
Yeah.
love this.
Oh my
fall.
God,
It's great.
nice.
July 28th is when it premieres. It's an amazing show, and I love Chris Estrada to knowing that I love him as an artist and as a man. So I'm very excited for him. And at Mike the Menendez on Instagram and TikTok. Yeah.
Great. Well, thanks for listening, guys. British Nina signing off. Thank you. Goodbye.